Hi everyone, my name is Mark Abuaitah. I am the new Director of Technical Communications for the mobile division at Bold Flash. I want to discuss in this video the new technical communication tools that we are in the process of implementing. I will be taking an existing communication artifact and analyzing it to show its ineffectiveness. I will also show an example of how to apply the new communication guidelines to this artifact using our new suggested methods of communication. I also want to take this opportunity to shed some light on our new developed website and see what it has to offer you as a department manager. First, let's look at why we need to optimize our technical communications and begin using more effective and efficient tools, methodologies, and strategies. In other words, why do we need a new adaptation? The reason why we need a new adaptation is because unclear messages in general can lead to misunderstandings, which in turn leads to delays in completing work, lost business, reduced productivity, and customer dissatisfaction. We saw this between 2007 and 2011, where reduced productivity due to ineffective communications decreased sales by $5 million for the mobile division, when in fact the total sales for Bold Flash increased by $1 billion. Now, Mobile Division Vice President Dr. Roger Cahill also determined that the reasons for dysfunctionalities and the loss in revenue to be largely due to ineffective communications between teams within the division and between the division and other departments. Therefore, there is certainly a need for a new adaptation, and the new communication guidelines will help unit managers and team members collaborate more effectively. Let's take a look at what some of these guidelines are. In general, we need to be more specific in our communications. Being specific is not just simply not being vague, but also understanding your audience so that you are delivering a message that is specific to them. You also have to identify the 5 W's of communication. That is, what and where you're communicating, who you're communicating your message to, and when and why you're communicating it. You should also consider the language and culture of your audience. For example, if your audience are in the Shanghai plant, they might not understand the message you sent to them in English. Finally, whatever means of communication you are using, whether a traditional email or the new communication methods, your message has to be clear and concise for the audience to understand it. Some of the guidelines for ensuring the clarity and conciseness of a message include limiting the length of your sentences, deleting any be verbs, avoiding any passive voice, shun, and camouflage words. This is an example of an existing communication artifact that I would like to discuss today to illustrate how to apply the new communication guidelines to your messages so that they are more effective. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this memo. The first thing that I notice is that it does not have a date and it is directed to all department heads. Feel free to pause this video and read this memo before moving forward. Now, if I were the department head and I was reading this first paragraph, I am expecting some sort of information about what type of enhancements customers are looking for. If I continue on reading, I expect to see at least an example in the following paragraphs about those enhancements. However, the entire memo does not identify the type of enhancements that need to be added to the existing products. Which brings me to another defect in this memo, and that is the memo does not specify the products needing enhancements. So, after this memo, I'm left wondering or making assumptions about both the enhancements and the products that need enhancements, which means that this memo does not meet the communication guidelines. The point here is that if I were a department head and I want to voice my opinion, I really can't because I don't know what the enhancements are. Also, notice at the end of the memo, the sender says, I know everyone will be behind us in this. The issue here is that the sender expects everyone to be on board despite not being very specific about the enhancements and neglecting to offer all department heads the opportunity to provide their feedback. And again, because they simply don't know what the enhancements are. So the advice here is try to be as specific as possible in your memos. If you don't know specifics and you're simply giving someone the heads up, you simply state that you would follow up with another memo with specifications. So the memo is obviously subjective and is not very specific. It does not clearly identify the what, where, who, when, and why of communication. It is directed to all department heads, but those in Shanghai might not understand the memo due to the language differences. It also does not have a clear and concise message. Now, the only thing that this message tells me is that marketing representatives have identified a large focus on enhancements by our competitors. Therefore, in order to maintain our place in the market, we too must consider further enhancements to our flash drive line. But again, not enough information about the enhancements or the type of products that need them. Now, let's try to apply our new method of communication to this memo. The new introduced tool that we will be using for collaboration is called Slack. If you have not downloaded Slack to use on your PC or mobile device, you can go ahead and do so following the instructions on our website, which I will be discussing shortly in this video. Now, unlike traditional email clients, Slack gives anyone an opportunity to create a discussion room for team collaboration, which are called channels. The channel name here is NAND Enhancements because the discussion is about the enhancements for the NAND type chips. I can also describe the purpose of the channel, as you can see here, so that other visitors can understand the reason for collaboration. Now, the first thing that I need to do before writing a message is consider the audience. Who are my audience? Now, since I am considering enhancements about the flash drive line, I want to engage manufacturing, marketing, and sales. The reason why I want to engage sales is because being aware of what the enhancements are can leverage them in providing the customers information about the maximum potential of the new product. Therefore, my message is going to be for Kavita Patel, who is the Director of Marketing, the new Manufacturing Director, Kevin Cheng, and Chip Bryan, who is the Director of Sales. Now, this is what my message should look like after implementing the new communication guidelines. Again, feel free to pause the video and read the entire message, but while you're doing so, think about these questions. Is the message specific? Does the message identify the 5 W's of communication? What about other languages? Is the message clear? Is it concise? So, the message is in fact specific. Why? Because the reader is not left wondering or making assumptions, and we know exactly who the message is directed to. It also answers the 5 W's of communication. The what is enhancements to the NAND type chips. The who is manufacturing, marketing, and sales. The when is at the weekly meetings. The where is in the conference room where the weekly meetings occur. And the why, which is addressed at the end of the message, is to keep our place in the market. As for the language, Slack has the capability to translate messages based on the language of your browser. You will need to install a plugin for multilingual capabilities, and instructions on how to do so will be available on our website. And finally, the message is clear and concise based on the aforementioned message clarity guidelines. Now let's have a quick look at our technical communications website. This website is designed to help mobile's department heads and their teams implement effective communication strategies. It includes weekly blogs, upcoming training webinars, which are for training on how to communicate effectively. The website also has some videos on general communication guidelines, and it includes a nice feature that we added recently, which provides you with links that take you directly to your Slack teams. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. The home page includes all the blogs that are posted by our technical communications team. These blogs are normally posted each week, sometimes 2 to 3 times a week, and they include important information about either a recent communication analysis or suggestions on how to better collaborate with your teams. And the reason why this is not your traditional daily blog is because we want to post information that has value and that can contribute to better collaboration. And I find that if we focus on having daily blogs on the website, it might deviate from posting something useful because my team would simply be focusing on the daily aspect of the blog instead of its actual content. I encourage each department head to frequently visit the site, and I assure you that you will find beneficial information that you can use to better communicate with your teams. For example, if we go to one of the posts here, Slack for Desktop, there are different steps that your team would have to follow in order to install Slack on their desktops. My goal is to not only have this as instructions, but also as a learning tool on how to effectively provide step-by-step instructions to your teams and customers. So if you are from technical support, you can use these instructions as a reference in providing installments instructions, say for your A23B flash drive. You have to consider your audience when developing any sort of communication contents. For example, for the website where I provide training tools on optimizing team collaborations, I consider my audience first. Then what I did is design a step-by-step instruction on how to download the collaboration tool that we use at the mobiles division. Notice how the instructions do not assume that the readers know what system type they are using. That is, whether it is a 32 or 64-bit platform. I gave these instructions because I know that some departments, especially sales, have seasonal interns and new graduates working in their offices, and many of them may not know what type of system they are using. So if you are providing instructions or communicating for any other purpose, make sure to consider your audience. That is, know who your audience are and what they are looking for in order to deliver the correct message. In my example, step 3 provides some instructions on how to find your system type. Therefore, whether my readers are a high-tech or low-tech audience, they will be able to follow my instructions, which is really my goal. Notice also the use of hyperlinks and images, which I encourage you and your teams to get in the habit of using in your communications. On the side of the page, and this is available on each page on our website, you will see a link to contact our department and a search bar in the case that you can't find what you're looking for on the current page. You can also use this bar up here to find what you're looking for. For example, if I go ahead and type Slack for desktop in this search bar, I'll be redirected to a new page showing me headings for what I searched. Obviously here we're seeing Slack for desktop and the web, because if we click on the link, we will see that Slack, there you go, is discussed here as well. Going back to the home button where my blogs are, I can also see any recent Slack teams. For example, this is the NAN team. If I click on it, I will be redirected to Slack so I can collaborate with my team members more easily. Here I will see my channels that I am involved in and any other team members. And let's go ahead and have a look at Start up here. These are simply channels and team members that I starred for a quicker access. In other words, they are what I visit the most, and starring them would put them in a list according to my preference. If I go down here to members again, I can click on Kavita. It looks like she had sent me a message on the 28th. I can go ahead and reply, say, can you meet me at 10 a.m. in the conference room today? Now, I did receive a notification as soon as I got this message, but we're just doing this for demonstration purposes. Now, going back to the website, there are a couple of helpful communication videos currently on the website. You can watch them by simply clicking on the links here. You can also see some recent news on the website, which I feel would encourage your teams to collaborate more effectively. The reason is because this page will include successful communication stories within our departments, and I feel that it would motivate everyone who reads them to collaborate more effectively. There are some upcoming training events that the technical communication team is arranging locally, but we'll post the training on the website after the events so that they are available for everybody else. For example, marketing teams have a training coming up on January the 10th. Those who cannot attend will be able to review the training online so that it is benefiting everyone. But there are also some live webinars, as you can see, posted under the upcoming webinars tab. These webinars will provide training for all of those who are able to attend online. And finally, the technical communications team is working on making this website multilingual so that all the division departments are able to benefit from its contents. I hope that this video was helpful. Please feel free to provide your feedback through the technical communication website, and I will see you in the next training.